All right, we are ready to go. Let me get this tweet out real quick. And we're live. All right. So January 7th, ATP and WTA slate, all from a betting perspective. My name is Cale Hammond. Semi-final matchups today from ATP, or final ATP Cup, ATP WTA Melbourne Adelaide. So not really much at first glance. Nothing's like absolutely jumping out like as a must bet. I do like a women's match we'll get to later at the end. But yeah, sometimes that's good because I really do believe that tennis is best bet live. I think that tying yourself to someone pre-match early is tough. You know, you really never know how they're going to play. Every day is a new day. But I'm a huge fan of like watching a few games, especially in ATP, because almost every time they're going to, hold, and then you can sort of see, okay, they're looking okay, they're looking good. Yesterday we had a great day yesterday. I'm happy about that. So we were right on about pretty much every matchup except, unfortunately, the play of the day in Botic van de Zandschulp, which sucks to miss the big one. But that said, our plus 140 underdog play of the day was up on Dimitrov 5-3, 40-15 in the third set, which is almost as good as a win because then you have Dimitrov sitting there at plus 1,500. And that is, that's an automatic hedge, if you get that, because then just a small fraction of your initial bet covers what you bet initially and more. So was I up at 3 a.m. watching? No, I was not. Was I able to hedge? No, I was not. Did I lose money? Yes, I lost money. But if that was later on in the season and I was betting my normal amounts, not like the first week's small stakes, I absolutely would have been up watching that match. I absolutely would have hedged and absolutely would have cashed. Look, if you have an underdog money line initially and they're up like Botic was up yesterday, and you have their competitor sitting there at plus 1,500, you take that every time. Tennis, we've seen the last 2 years, like these comebacks happen all the time, yet the live odd algorithm has no choice but to make, someone down match point as a monumental underdog. So you take that every time. Look, especially if you're betting volume, if you're betting a lot and you have a chance to cash out, and free roll guarantee money, you do it. So that sucks that we missed the play of the day. For the record purposes, play of the day is now 3-2, really close to being 3-1. But for me, if I was doing that, and if I bet a lot and I was up there, up watching that, you hedge and you win money. So other matches, I'm glad I avoided Mikael Ymer versus Kokkinakis. I talked about the Kokkinakis, miracle, healthy Australia run, and it seems like it's happening. So credit to him. Hurkacz was super lucky. I won his spread. I took his spread minus 1.5, and he actually lost, but he won that 6-2 set and then lost 2-7, 6 sets. So that is extremely, extremely lucky. So when that happens, you just say a little prayer of thanks. And we got Cilic super easy over Laszlo Djere. That was a no contest. And then we got Maxime Cressy money line as well. He did exactly what we thought he was going to do. Just guys like Jaime Munar, Facundo Bagnis too. These guys who excel on clay, when they get on hard court, if they're put in a situation where they have no rhythm, it's really tough for them because they rely on a rhythm. And once they get that rhythm, then they grind and wear their opponents down. But Cressy's not going to let anyone do that to him. He's going to play the match on his terms every time, and he is a breath of fresh air, and credit to him. People make the case for Cressy being one of the most improved tennis players ever, and that's accurate because this guy, like, for a long time, he didn't even play at UCLA. He wasn't even close to sniffing their lineup, and now he's cracked the top 100 at Wimbledon. I mean, my God, like, if he gets hot at Wimbledon, who knows? Quarterfinals? Maybe, if he's healthy and playing well. I mean, nobody wants to play him. So you credit him, and Cressy's a funny guy. I'll get to the matchups in a quick second, but I used to travel around interviewing players for Tennis Channel, and one of the things I was able to do was use my connection because I played at a pretty high level, and so I knew a lot of the guys playing challengers. And so I would go and interview these challenger players because we had some coverage on Tennis Channel, and it was so interesting because I remember one time I was really trying to get him for an interview because he's coming up, and it was at 10 a.m. and he just finished practicing, and his match was like fourth on, which means he was going to play at 6 p.m. And this guy, I mean, he is a weird dude, but I was just like, look, like I think an interview would be great for you, get the word out, let people know who you are. He didn't give a fuck at all. Well, Tennis Channel's got, several 100,000 followers, social media accounts. And so, it's a good opportunity for him to get some exposure. And he's like, I don't want to do it before my match. I want to focus. I'm going to go through my routine. I'll do it after a match. His match was going to finish at 9 p.m. I was like, all right. And, before we'll get to the matches, I promise in a second, but it is fascinating because growing up playing against all these top guys, sometimes you have players who, when they're younger, like Cressy, Nicole Mellicar, Wimbledon doubles champion, is a good example, where you can just tell they have this irrational belief in themselves. And at the time, there's no other way to take it except say that person's fucking delusional. Like, they're not very good. They're not going to make it. But in a sport like tennis, where, you can play into your mid-30s and it takes a long time to find a groove and you can always keep improving your game, being a little bit delusional is not the worst thing in the world for a tennis player. And we're seeing that with Cressy right now. Nobody on his team thought he was capable of doing anything like this. They thought he was terrible at tennis. And now he is going to, be ranked. He's not going to be ranked higher than Mackie and Marcos yet, but coming. So credit to him. Yeah, it's just a cool story. So let's move on, break down the matchups. Sorry for that. HSP Cup, we got Denis Shapolov versus Roman Safiullin. I don't know how you say his name, but I had Shapo -3. He's -3.5. That's typical standard solid favorite line. You don't want to lay games with Shapo as a pre-match favorite, so we're not going to do that. I think Safiullin +3.5 initially wouldn't be the worst spot to be in because he's looked fantastic so far, and he gave Jannik Sinner all he could handle. He choked in the first set tiebreak, and then Sinner with that breath of fresh air. Okay, thank God my opponent just choked. I was about to be down a set. He hit some good shots and outplayed him. But I wouldn't mind being on Safiullin +3.5 to start, especially it's a live important tie for these guys. They're playing for a lot of money here. So anytime you get Shapovalov in a high pressure situation, betting against him is not the worst strategy. So +3.5, I'm gonna think about it. I'm not gonna write it down as a must play or anything, but I think that's where you want to be because you do not want to be on Shapo -3.5 and then he gets broken first game down 3-0 and then you lose your money within 2 minutes. It's not fun. All right, moving on. Felix Auger-Aliassime versus Daniil Medvedev. I had Medvedev -3.5 because Felix has played fantastic tennis. Beat Norrie, beat Zverev, and Medvedev is still -4. So the bookmakers are not letting you bet Daniil Medvedev. And that's totally fair. He's won us a ton of money the last 2 years. You can't keep winning money on the same players. It's just that's not how the market works. So Medvedev -4. Look, the game style it's just so good, and he shrinks the court so much. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that live, and if Felix is able to win the first set, then I think Medvedev live is a good play. But that being said, bear with me here. Let me open up this file. I went and researched, what percentage players win when they do win the first set. And let me see what we got here. Okay. So this is fascinating, actually, and this is really good. So listen up because Felix Auger-Aliassime, when he wins the first set throughout his career, where are you? FAA, yes. When he wins the first set throughout his career, FAA has an 88% win percentage. So when he wins the first set, he's winning, 9 out of 10 matches. When he won the first set in 2021 last year, again, 89% win percentage. So when he wins the first set, he's actually a good bet, for the second set or the third set. But against Medvedev, I don't think that is applicable, because when Medvedev lost the first set in 2021, he won 50% of his matches. And that was second best on the ATP Tour, next to fucking Novak Djokovic, who won 70% of his matches after losing the first set. And if you follow tennis closely, if you play tennis, you need to realize how remarkable that is. It is one of the most impressive statistics I've ever seen in my life. Winning 70% of the matches where you lose the first set, it's like the equivalent of an NBA team being down 20 at halftime and winning 70% of the games they're down 20 points at halftime. I mean, the amount of money you could make on a team that was doing that in the NBA, down 20 at halftime, is astronomical. Someone had a good tweet that there are two types of people in this world: those who bet Novak Djokovic down a set, and those who hate money. And that was true. I can't remember who said that, but it was very funny. And last thing about Joker, when he won the first set in 2021, he had a 98% win percentage. So he's the GOAT. Nothing really you can say about that. All right, so thanks for bearing with me here, but I think that is important information, especially when you're betting tennis and you're live betting, to know how they fare, when they win or lose the first set. Some players here are pretty shocking. Dusan Lajovic. If Dusan Lajovic loses the first set, bet against him, because he has a 13% career win percentage after losing the first set in his entire 12-year career. So it's terrible. So if he loses the first set, he's a great bet against, no matter what the odds are. All right. Moving on, ATP Melbourne, we have Grigor Dimitrov versus Maxime Cressy. We talked about Cressy and his, pretty incredible attitude. I had Demi minus 2.5. Cressy is Demi's minus 3. That's pretty right on. One break, one tie break. That's a minus 3 there. But Dimitrov, he's got 2 tough wins under his belt. He's really not playing that well, but he was terrible against Bagnes, and he got through 6-3 in the third. He didn't look that great against Bocic, but then he did turn it on, and his fitness and his court coverage are still pretty elite. And especially with the way Cressy plays, it's very flat through the court. The slice, Cressy's got a great slice, but Dimitrov has the second or third best slice in the world, maybe the best now that Federer's not there. So I think that is not a play Cressy's going to want to get in, because Dimitrov can slice all damn day. So I'm going to be on Dimitrov in this matchup, just because it's a phenomenal run for Cressy. So much credit to him, but is he really going to win 3 matches in a row against top 100, top 50 against Riley Opelka? Then he beat Jaime Munar, top 100. And now he plays Dimitrov, who's a legit top 20 player. I just think the run ends here. And that's all I'll say. I just think it ends here. Especially if he's given Dimitrov double faults. Because Dimitrov's just going to chip the return. Hopefully he just chips the return. If Dimitrov is out there and he's taking full cuts on his one-handed backhand topspin, then get the fuck out of that bet. But if he is chipping the return and, chipping it, keeping it low, and making Cressy hit low volleys, Dimitrov's ability to sprint to the open court and hit a running passing shot is extremely good. It's one of the best aspects of his game. So I just think matchup-wise, this is a good one for Dimitrov. And look, Cressy's great, but if you're Dimitrov and you're playing the semis of the first ATP tournament of the year and you get Cressy in the semis, that's good stuff. You got to be feeling pretty good. I think Dimitrov is a good bet there at minus 3. I will be on that one. Next up, Nadal versus Ruusuvuori. Nadal, I had him minus 4. He's minus 4.5. So we talked about the conditions here, and the brand new ATP Dunlop balls they're using are extremely light, and they fly through the air and skid through the court when they're new. And Ruusuvuori is just generating extremely easy power. And if I had one wish, it would be for Ruusuvuori to catch fire and like show us like what he really is capable of as a tennis player, because so often, you know, once you think that he's got it, he'll just lose three and he'll burn you. But I think initial money line play on Ruusuvuori is not the worst bet in the world. I mean, check and see exactly what that is. I think it was 370 plus 370 last time I checked, and we have plus 360 now. So I think a little bit of money's coming in on Ruusuvuori. So that's not the worst play in the world. Just taking Rus plus 360 if he wins the first set against Nadal. Just hedge, because you know Nadal down a set is almost an automatic live bet because his reputation throughout his whole career. But I think Ruusuvuori is worth the look here, because not only did Nadal, you know, he got that withdrawal, and so he didn't have that match rhythm. And it's 2 out of 3 sets. Not like Nadal's playing, you know, super physical, grinding tennis. I do think that he would have benefited from the rhythm and being able to play, especially if he's healthy. If he's healthy and he gets to lose a day, that's not an advantage. And not only that, you have Ruusuvuori, who just played a lefty in Alex Molcan, and he beat the shit out of him. He beat him like 6-1, 6-2. So it's a small sample size, but in his career, Emil Ruusuvuori has never lost to a left-handed player. And I think part of that reason is sort of like the Zverev aspect. Zverev also a phenomenal record versus lefties, because their ability to get out wide to the backhand and just hit darts down the line or cross court with their beautiful, clean backhand. Lefties don't like that. Kevin Anderson has another great record against lefties, and he's the same way. His backhand's much better than his forehand. So he gets out wide to that backhand, and he's able to hit his spots from open stance, from closed stance, on the run. Yeah, so I'm going to be small on Ruusuvuori, money line to start. I'm not going to like recommend that play. You know, you don't pad your stats by recommending plus 370 underdogs. But the fact that he just played a lefty, has never lost to lefties, Nadal missed that match, so he's lacking a little bit of rhythm. I think the signs are there, and not only that, the most important thing is that it's a no-pressure situation for him. Ruusuvuori is so young. I think he's 22. I think he's 22. He's 22. And so he's so young that the Nadal intimidation factor that everyone, you know, that would be my generation or even a little bit younger are so intimidated. You know, they're playing one of the best players of all time. But Ruusuvuori is so young that, like, okay, he's sort of starting to heat up, and Nadal is getting a little old. So I think all the signs are there. I think he's a very active live underdog. Yeah, you don't necessarily win a ton of money betting against Nadal, but I think there's some merit. Yeah, Kenny Ducey just said I have Jensen Brooksby as my little cover photo, just because Jensen Brooksby was the reason I was able to quit my job last year at Tennis Channel. You know, doing a lot of work for not very much pay at all. And Jensen Brooksby was like an underdog in 9 straight matches, and the odds makers just wouldn't believe that he was good at tennis. And so the U.S. Open too, with a 6-1 set against Grigor, I was actually able to quit my job because of Jensen Brooksby. So I fucking love that guy so much. Moving on to ATP Adelaide. We have Marin Cilic versus Karen Khachanov. Cilic is 2-0 in his career against Khachanov. I don't think, you know, that you can read all that much from it, but the conditions are phenomenal for Cilic. We talked about the live ball. He's hitting absolute darts on his first serve. The court bounces high, so Cilic 6'6". He gets it up in his strike zone, and his flat strike is so penetrating and so tough. I think that if he's able to pound the Khachanov forehand with his flat penetrating ground strokes, Khachanov's got that Western grip, man. And so over time, look, Khachanov's, it's tough to hit, like supremely accurate shots with that severe Western grip. You're sort of just aiming at a target. You're aiming at a half of the court, and you're just making the ball with the heavy spin. I love Cilic in this matchup. I had him minus 2 games, and he's -1. So I see no reason why we don't ride the Marin Cilic train. Yesterday was sweat-free. He beat the crap out of his opponent. Montero played really well in the earlier rounds. Lefty, tricky game, served really well, got him off the court. Played, I think, far beyond his capability and saved 7 out of 8 break points. And Cilic still got the job done straight. So a confident Marin Cilic on a quick court with these lively balls and high bouncing conditions, I just think this is a pure condition play. The head-to-head, I honestly don't like, because I don't like it when I'm betting on a guy who has never lost to an opponent, because in a sport like tennis, individual mano and mano, like the ego plays such a big factor. And if someone's beaten you twice, it's just psychology. If you've never beaten them, you're going to want to beat them more than they want to beat you. And I think the revenge angle is actually a profitable strategy, but only when the conditions are even or in the revenge guy's favor. These conditions are perfect for Marin Cilic, and I would not be surprised at all if he wins the title. Khachanov's a tough out. I think Marin Cilic money line or -1 is a fantastic play. If he wins the first, which I think he will, and then he gets up in the second, that's good. If it's a grind, holding serve, and then, Khachanov saving break points left and right, I wouldn't mind hedging on Khachanov a little bit, because he's a good pro. But Marin Cilic is the play here. Next up, Gael Monfils or Thanasi Kokkinakis. This is the big question here: is Kokkinakis going to run out of gas or not? So let's look up his last 3 matches. They've all been grinds. He's won 3. I think he's won 3 straight setters. Okay, so he beat Millman 4-3. He beat TFO 3 sets on Wednesday. Then he beat Yimmer in an absolute marathon battle. Now he plays Monfils, who is an absolute wall. Will he have a grind with Monfils? Because I tweeted this yesterday and I spoke about it in the video, and it's one of the things that's really not debatable for me, and that is Monfils plays his best tennis when he is forced to react the whole time. When Monfils has to make decisions for himself and, take short forehands and do I want to crack it? Do I want to roll it in? He gets caught up in these tough decisions, and Monfils misses tons of easy balls, easy short forehands, easy putaways. So this is another one. I'm gonna be on Monfils just because Monfils had an easy match versus Tommy Paul, so he's gonna be fresh. He looks great, and Kokkinakis is, he won the challenge at the end of the year. He's playing well, but this is gonna be a battle, and I'm not sure he's gonna have the stamina. So this to me would be a pure stamina play. Once again, I don't want to get caught up in like being on the wrong side of the fucking Kokkinakis miracle run. But I think just looking at the physicality of his last couple matches, and he's got a relatively quick turnaround, and this is a different level than the challengers that he was winning. I think Monfils is the right play here, but just monitor this. I mean, it's late, so you're probably not going to be able to. So I think, pure fitness wise, Monfils is the right play, because Kokkinakis has got to be feeling it in the legs a little bit after that 3-hour match versus Yimmer. All right, moving on. That's it for the men. So to sum up, I think Safiullin plus 3.5 pre-match is a fine play. I'm not going to recommend it. Medvedev -4. Look, it's tough to bet Medvedev. And if you want to take a flyer on Felix, go right ahead. But I would probably actually wait until if Felix wins the first set, because we looked at his stats and he wins 90% of the matches that he wins the first set. There's something about him when he wins that first set, he's in good shape. So that's one when you monitor live. Medvedev, they're making it it's impossible to bet Medvedev these days. Dimitrov versus Cressy. I think Dimitrov minus 3 is tricky. That's pretty right on. But I think that Dimitrov is able to get it done. Minus 3 pre-match on Dimitrov is not where you want to be, but I think that's not. I'm definitely going to be on Dimitrov in some capacity. So we got Dimitrov, we got Emil Ruusuvuori, a small bet on the money line, and if he wins the first set, you can hedge, guaranteed profit. Yeah, it's just going to be a fun match too because we're going to see where his level at because there's absolutely no pressure on the kid. Marin Cilic over Khachanov. For me, that's the play of the day. Just I don't know how you can oppose Cilic right now with what he's showing with his game style and how it's playing on these courts with Khachanov's super Western forehand. I think one thing that's going to be a good indicator is that if Khachanov is able to get a couple forehands and, if he's hitting clean winners with his super Western grip forehand and hitting his forehand huge, then yeah, he totally has a chance to win. But Cilic has played him twice before. He knows that the forehand's the weaker shot. Khachanov's backhand's pretty money, especially on these quick courts. Cilic is a smart player. He's playing well. I'm glad he got back because he looked so bad for so long in his career. But he said in a press conference, and once again, I thought he was delusional. He said, I think that the best is still yet to come for me. And I thought he was an idiot. But now I'm the idiot because he's probably going to win ATP Adelaide. So moving on to the women, we have Amanda Anisimova versus Daria Kasatkina. I had Anisimova minus 2. She's minus 1. I love this play for multiple reasons. The first is that if Anisimova is rounding into form and healthy and, wants to be there, she's top 10 in the world. And she's criminally underpriced if she is indeed on that upswing and getting back on track. If she's getting back on track, she's criminally underpriced. The courts in Australia are quick. They're high bouncing. The balls are laser beams when they're fresh. And Anisimova is tall. She's 5'11", and Kasatkina hits that loopy forehand, loopy ground stroke. She moves well. She's going to hit some amazing shots. But just over time, just like Anisimova getting to step up in front of the baseline in the court and crack flat balls with these quick conditions, over time, it's just the conditions are more in Anisimova's favor. So I think Anisimova minus 1 is going to be also my play of the day too. Next up, we have Ann Lee versus Alieksandra Sasnovich. Red Lee minus 3.5. She's minus 3. Once again, the way with these conditions, if Lee's hot, the way she's hitting the ball, I have no problem with you taking Lee's spread there. No problem with it at all. Sometimes she's a no-show, but she's incredible. I remember talking to Peter Smith, the USC coach, about Ann Lee, and he's just laughing. He's just like, it's fucking incredible how hard she hits the ball. Like, you got to understand how hard she's swinging. It's incredible. So, yeah. She's incredible. Next up, WTA Adelaide, Rybakina versus Misaki Doi. Misaki Doi's playing well. She's defending well. Rybakina minus 5.5. That's just not going to touch that. I think that's pretty accurate. I would have her minus 5, but I'm not going to mess around with that one. And then the match of the day, Ash Barty versus Iga Swiatek. I had Barty minus 2.5. Barty's minus 3. Iga Swiatek has never lost in Adelaide, which is the one concerning thing that I have. Like, sometimes certain venues, players just love playing at them. Like, you'll see, Isner's won Atlanta 7 times. So, like, betting against Isner in Atlanta is fucking stupid. So, is Kasatkina, does she have that same vibe with Adelaide? Is she going to just be, play incredible tennis there? Because Barty, while Barty is obviously a better player on hard court and in general, if you get that irrational confidence of, like, you love this venue, you're playing well in this venue, she could totally, come out hot and crank the first set, 6-2, 6-3 against Barty, and then your spread's in the garbage can. So that one is interesting. I think I'll monitor that live because I don't see Barty getting off to a hot start and winning the first set and then losing. I don't see Swiatek coming back there. So that one is one I'll monitor live because the spread is not too high where you can't jump on it if it looks like Barty's going to crush her. And I kind of like the spread there, but I pre-match once again, Swiatek hasn't lost a match here. So it's dangerous when you're playing. When someone's never lost a match at a venue, it's probably unwise to pick them to lose at that venue for the first time. Like, some people just love playing at certain places on any given day. You really don't know, what's going on there. But Barty's, she's so good. Her serve is obviously incredible, and we'll wrap it up in a second. But what Barty does for me personally, the accuracy that she hits her forehand with, especially when she runs around and is like in the ad court, but barely in the ad court, she's able to hit that inside in forehand so accurate with such perfect spin and placement that it's almost like hitting a cross court forehand. I don't know how she does it. She's incredible. And I would not bet against her at all. So I think if you're making any bets, you sort of need to lean Barty, because she got to spend the offseason in Australia. That's a big advantage for these players. You see it with Kokkinakis looking good, in Australia the whole time. Barty in Australia the whole time is definitely an advantage to not have to do that 23-hour flight or whatever it is. So great day yesterday. Today we are going, Marin Cilic is the play of the day. I'm going to be on Amanda Anisimova. I'm going to be on Grigor Dimitrov in some capacity. I think that Emil Ruusuvuori as an underdog money line is not the worst play in the world. I think you're going to get chances to hedge out of that, because his easy power and his flat ball, I think Nadal, if he's popping the forehand short and letting Ruusuvuori hit mid-court shots with no pressure, could be target practice. You never know. Monfils, Kokkinakis, I will definitely be on Monfils -3 there. I think just because what a great run for Kokkinakis. Is he going to have the patience to grind out yet another 3-set victory? I don't know. Probably not. But who knows? I would not bet too much on Monfils, because you don't want to be on the wrong side of this miracle run for Kokkinakis. That's just a bad feeling. When someone's playing for something, bigger than themselves, you don't want to be on the wrong side. And then, yeah, I have no problem with Ann Lee. Amanda Anisimova, I will put money on. And that's it. So we got Anisimova, Marin Cilic, Maxime, or Grigor Dimitrov, and Gael Monfils. I think those 4 plays, if you bet those in some capacity, I don't think you're going to lose all your money. I think you'll end up the day even or maybe up a little bit. Thank you so much. And I don't think we're going to be doing this on Saturday for the finals, but hopefully we'll get one up Sunday for the next round, because the fact that they're playing these tournaments in the same venues, huge advantage for the bettor, because we know exactly how the conditions are playing. We know exactly how everything's looking. And a lot of these players are going to play the tournament for the second time. So we get to see them in action again, which is great for us. So tough week 1. We're fighting back, but week 2 is going to be good, I have a feeling. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.